I think that there is a definite buzz about Glasgow as a centre of filmmaking in the UK.
They were up and down here, so basically all these shops had to close down.
People don't get so annoyed about roads being closed.
They said that it would be business as usual, but they had the whole area closed off. There was only certain entrances you could go in and leave, and as I say, you couldn't leave when the area was on lockdown when they were actually filming.
It's fantastic for the city that big Hollywood productions like that are coming.
Now this is really good. I'm really enjoying myself.
Good. I'm glad we bumped into each other.
Glasgow has a long history of filming production. However, now with major Hollywood productions coming to the city, Glasgow's stance in the film industry has never been more prominent. In recent years, Glasgow has provided the backdrop of some of Hollywood's most talked about films, such as Fast and Furious 6, Cloud Atlas, Perfect Sense, and the much anticipated World War Z starring Brad Pitt. However, with all this action taking place around the city, what does this mean for Glasgow and its people? But first of all, what attracts Hollywood to Glasgow?
Well, firstly, it's a very good looking city. It's got amazing buildings. It's got wide streets, which double very well for other locations. The red sandstone buildings can be a little problematic because London doesn't have, a great deal of red sandstone, but the scale of the city certainly is very attractive. People don't get so annoyed about roads being closed as they do in London.
Julia is in favour of filming productions using Glasgow streets. However, we spoke to local trader Gary, who disagrees.
The local traders are not too happy with the way the City Council's film department is operated. There's very little consultation with the local shopkeepers and very little recompense that I know about. The last major movies that they made here was a remake of the Hollywood movie Speed. They put posters up a week before at the end of the streets, a little A4 poster saying no vehicles will be allowed to enter here for the next 3 or 4 days. We decided we should approach them and say, surely if you're closing off our street we can't get trading, so you're going to have to come up with some money. He wasn't too happy, but he parted with, I think he gave us the pittance of 170 quid, which was like getting blood out of a stone. With great difficulty we managed to get some money. But what I want to know is, the council are collecting money from these big film companies. What do they do with the money? And is any of it being put back into the communities that they're hiring out without any consultation?
After leaving Gary, this raised an interesting question, one which we presented to Beverly Murray from the Glasgow Film Office.
Well, obviously it's beneficial for local businesses. World War Z came over and they used 8,500 hotel nights, so they're obviously spending money in the restaurants and bars, so it benefits hugely in that way.
So where does the money go?
Well, if films are shooting in the city, they pay the same things as what other agencies do. It's hard to explain, but if somebody wants to park on George Square, they pay the same as what, a film production will pay the same as what a general public will pay to park. It's not as though Glasgow is benefiting any more or any less, but it's just like a normal business.
Glasgow City Film Council seems to think local businesses strive from the production crews. However, a hostess from Jamie's Italian claims otherwise.
Basically, it was just really quiet, like really, really quiet. They said that it would be business as usual, but they had the whole area closed off. One of the managers was actually coming into work and he actually caught one of the security people saying that we were shut and that we weren't actually open at all. He went absolutely ballistic when he came in. Everything went on a 10-minute lockdown, so if people were in the restaurant they couldn't leave, if they obviously had finished their meal and wanted to go home. But yeah, it was just really quiet over the couple of days. I knew they shut the Piper pub just there down. I think they paid them off, they gave them some kind of money. But like Browns and Jamie Oliver's, obviously they were too big, I think, for them to probably pay them off. It wouldn't have really been worth their time, I don't think.
It's clear that certain businesses were affected, but what about the locals themselves?
This is a street, or the corner of the street, where they filmed Too Fast, Too Furious 6, here, over here, and over there. I didn't notice that they were filming this movie 2 days before they actually block the street and make a big mess around here. When they build a massive kind of building just for one day, for one shot, and I'm sure that they cost a lot of money, but I don't know, if the movie is successful, they will be able to promote Glasgow around the city, so I think it's good for the economy of the city as well.
Award-winning actor and director Peter Mullan sat down with us to discuss his experience in the industry.
Usually when I shoot in Glasgow, if I'm directing it or I've written it, it's usually within a kind of half a mile radius from where I live. Like Orphans was all shot just in and around where I lived.
You all right?
Aye, fine.
And I think when you shoot that close to home, you have a certain respect for the environment. When we did Orphans, we were doing a night shoot, about a 5-minute walk from where I lived, and the security guys came up saying, listen, there's a guy saying he's going to stab you. Because one of the big lights had kept him awake and he was on night shift. And obviously I took exception to that and I said, so where is this gentleman? I want to meet someone who's going to try and stab me. So I went round to this local pub. It'd be about 10 o'clock at night. And I said, so who's the guy that's wanting to stab me? And he went, it's me. I said, cool, well, now's your chance, boy. And turns out he was a taxi driver and a really nice chap. So that's the Glasgow response to filmmaking. A healthy disrespect.
On you go, Joe.
You sure?
I'm just getting straight here. Anyway, it'll be hotter when I get there.
Yeah, when the films come to town, people do get excited about it. And it annoys me that in a film set, whenever you try to bring anybody onto a film set to say, look, they just want to observe. Oh, man. For some reason, film has real issues with that. That's why it's so difficult getting young students on a film set. These are films that I've directed. And you're going, no, they're coming on because I say so. Because there's no law that says someone has to be quiet because you're filming. If they don't want to be, they don't want to be. There's not a great deal you can do about it. But these days you'll get the police will come in, which I find really bizarre. They'll come in and the police will take your side, the film unit side. And I find that really strange. Because it's like, well, it's kind of their world. We're the incomers, we're the intruders. But the police will go, no, I'll have a word. So when you're in someone's area, you should respect that. So that if you are going to have shouting and bawling at 2 o'clock in the morning, then one should always consult and say, look, are you okay with this? You know, we'll try and keep the shouting down to a minimum, but there will be shouting. And 99.999% of the time, people will say, cool, because you've asked. So when you don't ask, they get pissed off. And you can't blame them. I mean, I don't know if you've been around this, if you've lived anywhere where there's been a film unit nearby. Sometimes the arrogance is phenomenal. I mean, I've seen guys in the street because they've got the little, no, I'm important, wee headset. And they're telling people, you stop right there. And you get women with kids and people going places. And a lot of them say, fuck off, and rightly so. Because they weren't asked politely. They weren't asked, they were kind of told, just stand there. We're making a movie. Like somehow that's more important than you getting to the dentist or taking your kids to school or the hospital.
As Peter says, what does give Hollywood the right to invade Glasgow? It's clear productions aren't always as smooth running as Julie and Beverly suggested, and with the use of Glasgow as a location, the outcome of disruption is more likely. Maybe the reality of bringing Hollywood to Glasgow isn't as glamorous as some would think. In order for Glasgow to stay popular as a filming location, these issues must be addressed, as now the buzz over these productions outweighs the needs of the citizens.